Once upon a time, there was a very kind king called the Good King. One day, while hunting, he saved a little white rabbit from his dogs. That night, a beautiful lady, who was actually the fairy Truth, visited him. She thanked the king for being kind to the rabbit and offered to grant him a wish. The king asked her to help his son, Prince Darling, to be a good person. The fairy gave Prince Darling a magic ring that would prick him whenever he did something bad. For a while, the prince was good, but one day, he got angry and kicked his dog. The ring pricked him, and he felt ashamed. A voice told Prince Darling he had done 3 bad things. He was angry because he didn't get what he wanted, he was mean, and he hurt his dog. The fairy said it's better to do good with power, not bad. The prince felt sorry and promised to do better, but he had bad habits from his childhood. His nurse spoiled him and made him think kings could do anything they wanted. He struggled with his bad habits and often ignored the ring's pricks. Tired of it, he threw the ring away and became very bad. One day, he saw a beautiful girl named Celia and wanted to marry her. Celia said no because she didn't want to see his bad actions every day. Angry, the prince had her taken to his palace, but couldn't decide to punish her because he loved her. Prince Darling's foster brother was a bad influence and gave him terrible advice. When the prince wanted to be better to please Celia, his foster brother told him to use his power to force her to obey, even suggesting harsh punishments if she refused to marry him. This made the prince abandon his good intentions. The foster brother invited other bad friends to make the prince even angrier and drunk. In his rage, the prince went to find Celia but discovered she had escaped. Furious, he suspected an old nobleman named Suleiman, who had once been his tutor and still cared for him. The foster brother and friends lied, saying Suleiman helped Celia escape. The prince, believing them, ordered Suleiman to be brought in chains. Just then, the fairy Truth appeared with a clap of thunder. The fairy Truth appeared to Prince Darling and told him he was no longer human, but a monster due to his bad behavior. She transformed him to resemble the animals he acted like: a lion's head, bull's horns, wolf's feet, and snake's body. He found himself in a forest by a lake, where he saw his new form and heard the fairy's voice, telling him his soul was even uglier. Prince Darling tried to run away, but fell into a trap. Hunters captured him and took him to his kingdom's main city. On the way, he blamed the fairy for his troubles. The city was celebrating because the prince was thought to be dead, killed by a thunderbolt. His bad advisors had tried to take over, but were executed, and Suleiman, his former tutor, was made king. In the city square, Prince Darling saw Suleiman on the throne, with people rejoicing at their new, good ruler who would bring peace and happiness. This made Prince Darling even angrier. Suleiman told the people he accepted the crown only to keep it safe for Prince Darling, who was not dead. He said the prince had been led astray by flatterers, but could still become good. Suleiman's words made the prince realize his mistakes and feel sorry for his actions. The prince, now a monster, was captured and placed in a menagerie with other wild animals. He decided to be gentle and obedient to show his regret. His keeper was rough and often beat him. One day, a tiger attacked the sleeping keeper. Initially, the prince was pleased but soon wished to save the keeper's life. His cage opened and he killed the tiger, saving the man. A voice said good deeds should be rewarded, and the prince transformed into a small dog. The keeper took him to the king, and the queen decided to keep the dog. Though well cared for, the dog was kept on a strict diet and often felt hungry. One day, the dog took his bread to eat in the garden and found a magnificent house where a brook once was. He saw many well-dressed people entering and heard music, dancing, and feasting from inside. Prince Darling saw a strange house where people entered looking pale, thin, and in ragged clothes. Some collapsed, others begged for food but were ignored. Prince Darling gave his bread to a hungry girl and saved her. He then noticed Celia being forcibly taken into the house. Feeling powerless as a dog, he tried to follow but was chased away. Reflecting on his own past cruelty towards Celia, he regretted his actions. Celia appeared at a window and threw out food, but a girl warned Prince Darling that everything from the house was poisoned. He was transformed into a beautiful white dove by a voice saying good deeds bring rewards. He searched the house but found no trace of Celia. Flying on, he eventually found Celia in a desert sharing a meal with an old hermit in a cavern. Prince Darling, now transformed back into his human form, joyfully reunited with Celia. He expressed his love for her, and she reciprocated, promising to love him always. The old hermit revealed herself as the fairy Truth, who had tested Prince Darling and Celia. She granted them happiness and restored Prince Darling's crown. They were instantly transported to Suleiman's hall, where Prince Darling was welcomed back as the rightful ruler. He ruled wisely and justly with Celia by his side for many years. With his newfound wisdom, his magical ring, which he wore again, never pricked him severely again.